Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast. You guessed it, another cracking stage of the Giro d'Italia 2024. Stage 6 from Torre del Lago Puccini via Reggio region to Rapolano Terme. We've got, I don't know where we are in Italy. We're not, oh no, we are in Tuscany maybe. We're near Tuscany. Florence is in Tuscany, so we're like near Siena.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good.
Wine country.
Yeah. It was some really beautiful scenic shots stage. Really, really nice stage. Anyway, parcours pancake flat for 64 kilometers. That's an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20. Then a Volterra climb, 8.6 Ks, 4.6%, fake news climb. And then rolling hills in wine country for the next 100 Ks or 90 Ks, including 3 gravel sectors. People keep telling us that they have star ratings. I've not seen star ratings anywhere. Anyway, the first one's flat, 4 Ks. Second one's 3.3 Ks, the Grotti, 5% uphill gravel, and then a descent, bit of a valley, tarmac, and then the Piavina climb, which has a downhill gravel bit in it, and then the Rapolano climb, 700 meters, 10% with a nasty pinch in there before kind of a downhill rolling finish. Who was the favorite?
Pogacar.
Yep.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
On paper, he can win this stage.
Yep.
But we believed in the breakaway because there's so many teams that see the stage as, okay, the stage favorite is Pogacar. In a sprint, we can't win. So in a breakaway, the opportunity lies there. There's a flat start, which makes it a bit more difficult for a break to really form, I would say, in a fast way. But the names we were looking at to go into the moves were the likes of Stuyven, the likes of Hermans. We named like 75 riders of this peloton, and that's about the amount of riders that try to attack in the first 100 kilometers of the stage, because the breakaway formation phase was 100 kilometers, roughly.
Yeah.
The entire flat segment, no break had formed. On the climb afterwards, no break had formed yet, but there were intriguing parts to it. Let's start off with the following. At the first moment, I noticed that everyone except UAE and INEOS were trying to get in the breakaway.
Yeah.
Everyone else tried to get in the break, which is logical. INEOS, every now and then, tried to slip in with a Ghana, with a Sheffield maybe, I think, but also with one more rider, Narvaez.
Narvaez, yeah, I see he got in later, yeah.
So that was happening. On the other side, all the riders that are attacking tug buddies, loads of tug buddies today. Little Trek tried to do like a full-out lead out, I think, for Stuyven. In like one rider smashed it, the other rider in his wheel, the way you would see a tug buddy happen. Bora did the same thing as well for Schachmann. Then we had Affini for Walter, basically a duo attack. They attacked together, and then tug buddy action started kicking off with Affini doing that work. Walsh out for Demarchi, so it's too bad we don't have tug buddy shirts on, but those could have come in handy today. Question, is a weakness of the tug buddy tactic that you're burning a match with 2 riders instead of 1 in a race where there might be a very long breakaway formation phase?
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's if you try to jump early here and jump,
Yeah.
and then for some reason, maybe luck or just random factors outside of your control, or maybe another team doing something strange, it doesn't go. The people that get rewarded are the people who do nothing for 2 hours and then just jump later, having sat in the peloton. But the obvious risk of that is no one ever has that plan before a stage, because if you do that, there's a fair few stages that you could be missing the breakaway. So what I noticed was, I mean, INEOS weren't like too fussed about who was getting in the break, nor should they be. Okay, could they have been a bit more aggressive, really trying to get Narvaez, Sheffield, and Ghana in, or even Aronsman? Yeah, maybe. But who cares? And it's really UAE that are the focus for me of this stage, Benji. Like, no break goes. Everyone's killed themselves for an hour and a half. We get to the long climb, the Volterra climb, longest climb of the stage, actually. 8 Ks, 8.5 Ks. Fiorelli starts smashing it. I thought it was Pellizzari, this guy was climbing so fast. And then I saw some more leg definition, and then it's Fiorelli, the versatile sprinter.
Yeah.
He's got, I don't know, maybe Alaphilippe in the wheel, can't remember. And UAE were refusing to let the break go with more than 4 riders. Anytime, so a group would go with 3 or 4. Demarchi also did this at the base of Volterra with maybe Pellizzari. 4, okay, they're okay with that. Then a group of 8 go, no GC threats.
Yeah.
Novak and Bjerg or Langen on the front, driving in a line, absolutely full.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why do you care if you're UAE, if you don't care about the stage,
Yeah.
you don't care about the stage, why do you care if the break is 4 guys or 15 guys?
Exactly. That's also my opinion. The strategy that we indeed see is them closing counterattack. So X amount of rides go up the road, them closing the counterattack and closing the bigger groups like you mentioned. That is a strategy you do if you want to have a breakaway that is manageable so you can catch it by the end for a stage win. That is not the breakaway you would do
to give 6 minutes.
Okay, they can have 6 minutes. There's no dangerous riders in it because there were multiple moves here. I look at between 5 and 10 amount of moves, breakaways that went up the road where UAE started chasing behind it, where there's no one within 5 minutes in GC.
Yeah. It's even like, why do you care? If you don't care about the stage, why do you? I mean, there's a break, there's a move. Novak gets in by accident, and Narvaez gets in by maybe by accident, and no GC guys. I mean, maybe even Plapp. Why would? And then they're pulling full with the team on the climbs, like Langen and Bjerg. Bjerg blows himself up, pulling behind the eventual breakaway, ripping like full gas, and he eventually blows up. And only when that happens does the break fully form, with a slightly larger group getting across, but not that big. Still like 8 guys or so. It was Alpecin de Koenig did some really good tug buddy action on the Volterra, the later climbs for Caden Groves, who climbs really, really well. And he also thought that he could get some Chiclamino points, like a full delta, which he did eventually. And so the break does go. But just remember, also like, why wouldn't Poggy go for the stage? Poggy attacked on a sprint stage the other day, and they controlled other stages. And he did an 80-kilometer solo in Strade. Okay, this isn't the same hard gravel, but there's a 700-meter 10% climb where if you're clear, you win. So it's a great stage for him. He's the stage favorite.
So the breakaway formation, my conclusion based on the way they ride, is that they're going for the stage win.
100%.
If they're not going for the stage win, their breakaway formation strategy is wrong.
Yeah, if you don't care about the stage win and you want the break to win, then just let Max Schachmann in the break, because he's going to keep jumping, and so you're going to kill yourself for another half an hour. Because
I think we're looking at this in one way, but it could also be the other way. We're looking at it in the way of, okay, this is the strategy that they use, that you would use to hunt for a stage win.
Yeah.
But what if they just applied the wrong strategy in the break formation that made it look like they want for the stage win because they didn't know how to do it properly?
Yeah, but then they held it at 2:30.
Yeah.
Then they tried to hold it as short as possible with the resources they had, which is, by the way, no Oliveira, no Milano gone. So it's Langen and Bjerg, the 2 rouleurs, and you got to keep Micro and Großschartner for the uphill gravel around Poggy, and you never know what could happen with the mechanical or something. So they're short of resources.
In addition to that, if you want the break to go and want people to stop jumping, don't keep pacing behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in that way, you're extending the breakaway formation phase and making it even like what they did is exactly what you do if you're hunting for a stage win.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like to me. Anyway, break forms with Peleo Sanchez, Movistar rider, new recruit for them from Burgos. Alaphilippe, great to see. Plapp, Trentin, Pippo Fiorelli, who was very, very strong again. Caden Groves, eventually Andrea Vendrame bridges across like a 1 minute gap, but I think that completely killed his legs. But it was impressive that he got across there nonetheless. Zambanini got the call from the DS, the Bahrain rider, getting the breakaway, but unfortunately, Wout Poels, the ghost of him, would have been in this breakaway already, and Zambanini never makes it. Who? Am I missing anybody? Groves, Sanchez, Alaphilippe, Plapp, Trentin, Fiorelli, Vendrame, 7? Wait.
That's the 7. Vendrame was gone again pretty soon on the first gravel section, but that was the group.
Strong break. Not the biggest, but strong.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. Like, throughout the whole breakaway formation phase, I'm seeing UAE do things to create a manageable breakaway for the stage win, but then they lose control when that very large group forms of like, it looked like 25, 30 riders. Yeah. And then Bjerg buries himself.
Yeah, killed himself, yeah.
Mikkel Bjerg. And he buries himself to try and close down as much as possible. And it feels like they settled for that 7-man group.
Oh, they had no choice. Novak wasn't as good. It wasn't like Novak was just on the front like in Liège. and they had to basically wait for Langen to come back and accept what it was. And then the gap goes out really, really fast to 130 to 230. In 10Ks, it goes, to 250 even. And so then at the intermediate sprint, we see Fiorelli trying to beat Caden Groves. Probably discretion would have been a better part of valor. Maybe he should have saved that anaerobic effort because he loses to Groves anyway. And he should have just agreed to take second instead.
Yeah.
Coming up to the gravel, Benji. Also, like, we haven't really gone through the break, but Groves, I think, was there for the Ciclamino and then see how long he could get into the stage. Plapp, he's on 233. He's the closest in GC of this group. So there is the argument that UAE pegged it at 230 because of Plapp.
Yeah.
There is that argument. And then everyone else for the stage win. First Dorato, Benji, in the breakaway.
Yeah.
What did you see? To me, it just looked kind of like friendly gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked like friendly gravel, very dusty, especially when there's motorbikes in front of the group.
The second one was super dusty.
With the peloton, there was motorbikes in front of the group. In the breakaway, not really. So you had that less. Plappy seemed to be a bit more nervous about the time gap because he was virtually in Emalia Rosa for a little bit because he kept the group ongoing. He tried to keep pacing, and there were gaps starting on the gravel sector. Suddenly had a meter or 10 like advantage on that gravel sector, but in the end, not too much happened on that first gravel sector, to be honest. That was kind of the lead up towards the second one, because those two gravel sectors, it's like Tiswana Bourgel followed by Bourgel-Awanin in Paris-Roubaix.
You know, I can't do the northeast French
that
names.
Is gravel sector 8 and 7, I think, in the Tour de France, in Paris-Roubaix, sorry,
Okay.
Jesus Christ. They're just after each other, just like this gravel sector, these two. So it's like the follow-up that makes it a bit hard. It's not a 3 kilometer one, it's double that length, is how I perceive it. So breakaway, not much action. Peloton, it's interesting. INEOS positioning going into it, perfect. They're settling themselves at the front. That's exactly what you need. Positioning, safety,
100%.
Make sure you're nice and safe into the technical segment, into the run-in towards it especially.
Yeah. You got to start 7Ks before.
And they keep the front on the sector until suddenly on one side, Milan shows up with Juan Pe not even in the wheel and starts
He was
hard-pacing
on
it.
the wheel initially, and
then
no.
2,000 watts.
Dude, Milani, I mean, I love the enthusiasm, but a bit of a rush of blood. He starts dropping way too many watts on one pace, like sliding. And then Milan just full cracks himself on the uphill gravel section. But, I mean, love it anyway. I would like to give a big shout out to Aliotti on Bora. He was, first it was Gamper, but Aliotti today was unbelievable, positioning Danny Martinez on his own pretty much a lot. He was really incredible, Aliotti, who you might not know, but really, really impressive. Walter's there with Outerbrooks. Tratnik not there.
Yeah.
Tratnik not there. Laporte not there. He drops because he had the crash yesterday. So it's really Walter's the main man, only man around Outerbrooks. And it's, there's Micah still there, Groschartner's still there. And then INEOS, Benji, second Sterato, they start hard pacing with Aronsman, almost like attacking. They got Aronsman. First it was Chef, Aronsman, G, Narvaez. Poggy was off maybe behind Micah's wheel and Groschartner's wheel. And then there's a touch of wheels. I need to watch the replay.
Yeah.
In the inside of a bend, and O'Connor, Martinez, and Outerbrooks are caught up in some sort of crash. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, I don't think.
Nah, it didn't really matter. It seemed they're probably spending a bit of a bullet. They burned a match there, but didn't look like they were too injured. And especially because it was O'Connor really half crashing with his foot on the ground, and the rest was just stopped.
Yeah,
they had to get back up. I think Fortunato also had to run with his bike up the hill, which was kind of funny, low-key. But hey, that's the thoughts I had there. But I did feel like in the breakaway, we're now starting to see a difference, right? We see
the three
Flappy
strongest
getting a bit of a gap on the others, and then the others jump towards it, Alaphilippe and eventually Pelayo Sanchez as well. So Trentin gone, for example, out of that group. Vendrame was gone already. Groves, logical. It's too climby at this point, in my opinion. Fiorelli, who... Did we speak about Fiorelli and Groves fighting at the intermediate sprint?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But Fiorelli, maybe he could have been there if he picked the right move. He's been super strong, but he did a huge effort on Volterra, and that costs you. I mean, going back a bit, but the Demarchi and Pellizzari, when those guys tried to form the break on Volterra, they smashed it.
Yeah.
If you then look a bit later when there's like in the gruppetto with Milan coming back, they're the guys that got dropped. Like the effort, then if you don't make it, you can ruin your legs. Anyway, Aaron's been pacing super hard and was attacking. I was like, I really didn't mind it from INEOS. Like, what if, first of all, there's a decent chance other podium contenders or other GC guys have a mechanical, have the crash that O'Connor had an issue. Big chance that could happen. Secondly, you could get rid of Großschartner and Micah. Yep. Already you've gotten rid of Novak and Björk, so you can isolate Pogačar, and you got the team to do it. I don't mind it. I think it's not the wrong thing to do. And so, but then we get into this Valley, Benji, and this is where like the new beef, unfortunately they quashed it.
Yeah.
After the stage, they quashed the beef, but a beef begins between Peleo Sanchez and Julian Alaphilippe.
Yep. They've got serious beef going on, and it starts as simple as, I feel like Alaphilippe was doing a bit less turns, going to the car a bit more, his twitchy self. He was like fiddling around, thinking about everything except for being in this race
Sanchez
right now.
was in the right, in my opinion. Alaphilippe was being annoying.
And when Alaphilippe goes back to the front, then Sanchez is like, complaining, and then suddenly one of them skips a turn. Was it Sanchez that skips a turn?
No,
because he's like,
Alaphilippe skipped it the first time when Peleo gave out at him, and then the next turn, 3 minutes later, it's like on a drag. Alaphilippe just whacks it like too hard.
No, but we forgot to say that Sanchez low-key attacked while...
Yeah. When Alaphilippe went back to the car, but it was like the second or third time he'd been to the car in 5 minutes. And Sanchez was like, what the fuck? And because Alaphilippe came back, he's like, I was drinking some water. But yeah, Sanchez attacked him.
I think there's also a world where you, instead of attacking him, tell him, if you keep doing that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think both are low-key in the wrong. They're both not helping each other's chances. And I started feeling like Plapp could be the third bone that could run away with it and could benefit from that quarrel between the two, you know?
I thought he could be the beneficiary because like, if he picks the right moment, gets a 5-second gap, these two might just make sure the other loses the stage.
But we got to make it clear, in the peloton, in the run-in towards the first gravel sector, the time went out because UAE didn't have the strength. INEOS brought it down on the gravel sectors again. In between the gravel sectors, INEOS stopped. Yep. Because there's no value in it for them to keep going there.
UAE let it out again.
And UAE let it out because they like...
But is that the evidence that they're not interested in the stage, or they had no other choice and didn't want to put Großschartner on the front to chase the stage?
The way I see it, they settled halfway the stage for, okay, we can't control this, so we have to... We're just gonna try and do what we can to manage the gap with Plapp, and by the end of the stage, we'll see what happens then.
I agree.
That's how I perceive how UAE took on the stage, and then we had a bit of a quarrel as well in the peloton. To be honest, same valley. Yeah. We were going around a right bend, like a very slow bend, one of those like not very sharp ones, and Sheffield was next to the side of the road. Yep. With the INEOS train in his wheel. On the left side of him, Novak was there riding for UAE. And
Two trains side by side.
And Novak is like half wheeling him kind of in that road and moves to the right as if he tries
to take the apex through the bend.
Yeah. It's like he felt like he deserved to take that apex because he tries that. Then obviously Sheffield is like, oh, this is my place. He doesn't do anything. He just stays there.
Yeah.
And Novak complains against
Novak swings to the middle of the road. I'm like, brother,
and what?
It's like riding a straight line.
So that's on Novak, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Poor old Chef. Chef's like, I'm just standing here. I'm just trying to pace on the front. Sterrato 3. We come into it, the final one. This has got the downhill section. It's 17Ks to go. The gap's gone back out to maybe 2 minutes. And we see again the lead outs from the teams. Aliotti brings up Martinez again. Walter brings up Uiterbrooks. UAE are kind of sitting in the middle, third wheel with Micah and Großschartner around Poggi. INEOS have got Narvaez, Arensman, Chef still. We didn't mention Ganna, Benji. Ganna, I think, was quite poor today.
Yeah. Before the third gravel sector, he dropped. Before the second one, he dropped.
In the middle of the second one on the climb. I was with Milan, he dropped. I was like, that is not the level he had the other day. And he might have been useful later. Anyway, well, not really. We go into the third Sterrato. We think this is where maybe there could be the difference between Plapp, Peleo, and Alaphilippe. There isn't. They all looked... Yep. This is one of the most equally matched breaks where each guy, I think, could have won, and each guy is so... Maybe Sanchez was bluffing, I don't know, but they all looked weak at moments. They all attacked and got a gap at moments. But in the end, they go through that Storado unscathed.
Yeah.
They do lose some time. But in the GC group, Benji, have we got it confirmed that it was Caruso? There's a Bahrain rider
I
cuts
think
back
so.
to crash. It was Caruso.
I'll confirm it. Does that count?
Benji confirms it. But Luke will check just to double confirm it.
Zero confidence in me.
It did look like a
He's on 15 minutes in the stage, so.
Okay, so Caruso crashes on, and badly, obviously, because 15 minutes with 15Ks to go, you've hurt yourself.
Finishes with Novak.
Okay, so he hurt himself as well. Juanpe, I think, had an issue. Sheffield and Aronsman are pacing again. There's a dipper,
Yeah.
and Chef hits that dipper and then kicks up so hard, he gaps Großschartner. And I actually thought, sometimes I'm wrong and I say too much, but I really, at this moment already, you can see it on the live stream,
Yeah.
I didn't think Poggy looked that good or comfortable. He looked fine. He looked okay, but he didn't look like Strada Bianca, where Strada Bianca, he seemingly with no effort moved to the front on a dipper and just rode away without even attacking before his 80K solo. To me, he didn't look that as comfortable as that race.
I'll be honest, at that point, I didn't see anything wrong. Also because we were missing frontal shots from that group a lot.
We didn't see them.
It was very hard to see. Yes, he got gapped by a 1 meter bike, 1 meter bike length at the top, but that seemed more that he was freewheeling over the top of that gravel sector to me personally than any sign of weakness. So I didn't really see that sign of weakness there that you potentially. It's more. Did you see potentially a vulnerability that could be exploited? Not necessarily weakness.
I'm more sure saw his shoulders a bit and saw his shoulders a bit and head, and I was like, I'm not sure you look like super on a super day.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because once again, we're over that gravel sector. What's left in the stage? We've got that Muro coming.
Yeah.
The Muro di Rapolano, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That is a climb of roughly a kilometer.
700 meters, 10% apparently.
With 20% as max gradient is what it's reported to be. And in the run-in towards that, I'm looking at the breakaway again. We've got undulating terrain before that. And did we talk about the roundabout shenanigans already? The roundabout shenanigans between Pelayo and Alaphilippe?
It was, this was a bit unfortunate. This wouldn't have been the best way for the stage to end, although coming to a roundabout, Sanchez he goes too narrow to the roundabout, and it's not a straight roundabout, like where you enter and exit in a straight line. It was to the left a bit, and he just goes straight. Alaphilippe had his wheel overlapped on the right-hand side, and he somehow doesn't crash. Plapp sees him and says, "Can't park there, fellas," and just attacks across. And I thought Plapp was gone because Sanchez takes a while to come back. Alaphilippe gets within 3 bike lengths of Plapp, and then starts losing time, but then Plapp slows down, and then Sanchez brings Alaphilippe back. And from here on out, basically, cliff notes, the breakaway's inseparable. Sanchez surges, Alaphilippe surges, Plapp pulls way too much. He's pulling, and then the others two don't pull, and then he stops, completely pulling. And then we get to the Rapolano climb. I think Plappy attacks. Sanchez counters. Alaphilippe works on Plapp, then goes to Sanchez, then Alaphilippe counters, and Plapp didn't crack at all. He was just doing his pace. He just didn't, and the other two were actually surging way more.
We've seen Plapp attack in the past, but to me, he doesn't have the acceleration on the super steep gradients that an Alaphilippe has. Sanchez clearly as well, based on today. And Plapp was distant a little bit, but he does come back by the top of the climb. And these three valiant warriors go over the top together, and
with like 18 seconds, right?
I will say at this point, I think Plapp should have not necessarily waited until that climb, but I don't know how easy it is in Plapp's situation to, in that group, realize that the other two are quarreling. And if he attacks, then those other two will be fighting each other to try and, should I respond? Should I respond? I think there's more of a chance in there necessarily. But then again, I didn't know who was going to drop each other or anyway. So
but there was also more pressure it wasn't like they had 5 minutes. There was pressure at that point.
Because suddenly it was 44 seconds going into the bottom of that Rapolano climb from the peloton. And in the peloton, I'll be honest, when I saw the breakaway, I was like, 44 seconds, who's going to be pacing? Didn't expect that to be Aliotti for Martinez. And then we cut back to the breakaway. Then I'm like, it's still going down. I don't know who's going to be pacing. It switches back. Kian Uiterbroek's at the front.
Yeah, well, so like, on that climb in the GC group, we didn't get constant footage, so we don't know exactly what happened. But INEOS actually don't enter the last climb in good position at all. At least maybe not for G. I don't know what happened with G, but it cuts back. We see no pink jersey. He's there, but not right at the front, because I expected Poggy to nuke this climb, especially when another team has taken control like INEOS, and you've got the breakaway is not that far ahead, and you can take time. I thought he's going to attack, but Kjan Uiterbrooks is the one attacking on a punchy climb, so he must have felt really good. And Bardet was attacking.
I'm not sure if the Kjan thing was attacking. Felt like he was just hard pacing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, because it was still like a block, and Thomas's positioning was weird at the start of the climb. He was not where I expected him to be.
Then he flew up, so I was like, maybe he had a mech or got chopped or something. Yeah.
So I don't think he was showing any weakness, but he was just so detached from Arensman and being in a different place. But I will be honest, the gap, Bardet attacking, we see multiple moves in that sense, but it relatively stays together on the climb. And we don't see an attack of Pogačar, who's relatively at the front of the group. But let's dial back for a second before we finish off today's stage. In the breakaway formation, to me, it was very clear that UAE was riding a strategy that is the one that you do when you're trying to create a breakaway that you can control for the breakaway stage win. No, for your stage win.
Yeah.
And to me, it seemed that they settled when they realized it was too hard to control. And then eventually this group formed with Plap in that same moment. And now INEOS has low-key bailed out that stage win by hard pacing the gravel segments to the point that it's close enough. With Bora helping in the run in towards the Rapolano climb, because UAE didn't really have the teammates for that.
No.
And now that the gap is 22 seconds at the top of the Rapolano climb to the breakaway, Pogačar didn't make any move.
I was really surprised. Yeah, because like Pogačar attacked on a sprint stage the other day. And got a gap on it. So he said before the stage that he thought this stage was not hard enough to attack or go for but then it's like, okay, but you attacked on a sprint stage the other day. So I was really surprised. Maybe he's just conserving for the TT tomorrow and being sensible.
I disagree with the conserving for the TT, because then you wouldn't let your initially, you wouldn't control the breakaway formation phase like that if you're not trying to get the stage win.
I mean, I agree. I think a bit of a question mark there.
It's not, he's not watched. It's a potential sign of vulnerability.
Yeah, just
a little weird, a little unusual thing.
It's a change in the pattern of what you would expect normally, and so it's like, why is that? And so who knows? Maybe tomorrow he wins a TT easily.
It's possible. Even if he drops today in the Tour de France, he dropped on in the first week, and the day after he won on the stage with the Tourmalet and the stage where Jumbo went all out. So this could literally be a 3% off day.
Yeah, possible. Same with Europa. He wasn't.
Or we're overreading into something.
Maybe, but I mean, you gotta look at him, and he's the main man of the race.
It's those things INEOS needs to try and figure out, whether it's a weakness, whether it's not a weakness, whether they can exploit that or not.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying G should attack, but he something happened.
You said that.
Well, yeah. Well, why not?
Before the climb, I wasn't. I thought Pogačar would attack. So
yeah. Breakaway though, they're going to the finish. Plap tries to attack on the downhill because the other two are faster sprinters. Gets marked, unfortunately, by Alaphilippe. He goes to the front. I don't know if it was for the UCI points. It can't have been for the jersey or GC because the gap was so small. But he basically gives these guys a full 1,500 meter lead out, which means it's between Sanchez and Alaphilippe. Sanchez is pretty fast. Alaphilippe launches. He actually waits nicely, 175 meters to go. Comes around Plap. Sanchez not even in the wheel for that long. There's a right-hand chicane bend, and I was like, oh no, is Alaphilippe going to go to the barriers? He doesn't, credit to him, but Sanchez comes out of the wheel and he wins actually easily. He puts 2 bike lengths on Alaphilippe, the Spaniard, and beats Alaphilippe and Plap after a fantastic battle. Piccolo counted actually at the top of the last climb to take 4th, which I mean 80 UCI points. If they're there, take them. If you're EF. Narvaez easily wins the reduced group sprint behind, 29 seconds behind in front of Luka Mezgec, which is like, there's your evidence, Benji. Luka Mezgec.
Yeah.
Let the man in some breaks. Like, he must be in good shape because Herman Schultz, Martinez Lutsenko are all like Hill Classics riders. And Narvaez too, so he's in good shape.
Does it tell you something that Pogačar doesn't sprint in this sprint? Because he can't gain anything with it, in my opinion, so there's no value in him doing it. in 2 years ago he would have done it.
It's sensible not to sprint.
I think so too.
There's guys, all the guys sprinting there, apart from Martinez and Lutsenko, are not GC guys. It's a bend. Nah, fuck that. I wouldn't sprint.
I think it's more risky, and there's no bonus seconds available. I just have this one feeling about him not attacking that it's unusual when it comes to Pogacar. I'm not saying it will mean anything for the rest of the race, but I feel like he might have had less legs than he would have hoped for at the start of the stage.
I agree. I think it's very strange, but maybe it's something INEOS will pick up on. Maybe G was going to attack, but something happened. I don't know. Aronsman certainly was very, very good. I think Benji, INEOS, we were saying it, INEOS are missing... Oh, by the way, INEOS tactics today, totally understandable. Like, stay in front for the Storado so there's no issues. Don't chase the break. Like, no problem. But they're missing Egan Bernal. They're missing that attacking second leader who, when you have Poggy just with Micah, you can get into groups, maybe with a Danny Martinez or somebody, and put pressure. And that's the problem with G, is that, like, that's not his style. Yeah. G prefers to sit in whilst a Richie Port, or remember how Egan Bernal won the Tour de France? G was behind in the group, and Bernal was on the Iseran ahead. Or how Port and G worked in the Dauphiné in 2021. So they're just missing that a little bit. But
in the end, this is a stage with, first of all, an amazing breakaway battle. I watched from the start to the finish, except my 20-second piss break in the middle of it. But I will say this was a fantastic stage when it comes to breakaway. When it comes to GC action, maybe I expected 1-2% more in action. I didn't expect the GC battle full on anyway, so that I didn't see, but it was a really good stage.
It was a good stage. G, after the stage on Cycling ProNet, said basically they went in front to stay safe, as expected.
But I am wondering what happened before the Muro.
Yeah, that's what
he was in a bad position.
I was wanting to know, like, what happened there? Did you get chopped or what? Anyway, GC going into the first TT. Tadej Pogacar with a 46-second lead on Geraint Thomas. I think that's less than I expected, Benji. I would have said it would have been a minute or more. With this stage, with Europa, I would have, and the punchy stage going into the TT, I would have expected Poggy to be on over a minute.
I didn't, because I saw this stage as a breakaway stage.
I still thought he might attack. He won Strade.
I expected him to attack, but max 10 seconds in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, because I expected 45 seconds roughly. So I think this is the gap I expect. Europa, I expected the gap that happened there. And
true.
I didn't really see that or calculate a gap in for today. I just expect tomorrow to be a moment where it's a time trial.
I'll finish the top 10. Okay. Martinez on 47 seconds. Otterbrook's on 55 seconds. Rubio on 56 seconds.
Yeah.
He's going under the radar, isn't he? Rubio, 56 seconds. Fortunato, 107. So we've got some elite time trials, 4, 5, 6. Otterbrook's, Rubio, Fortunato. Oh, Juanpe and Jan Hurt. Wow, this is like a catalogue of not great time trials, is it? Juanpe on 111. Jan Hurt on 113. Lutsenko on 126. Chavez was also on the front on top of that Muro today. And 10th on 126. Same time as O'Connor. Storer 133. Plapp 157, he moves up a few spots. Zano 207, Bardet 233, Tiberi 250, and that's it. Like, Bahrain are having a bit of a shocker, actually.
Yep. Well, with Tiberi, there's also the aspect to it that he lost that time because of a mechanical on the climb.
Okay, was it a mech?
So on Europa, I'm pretty sure that was early on, so I can't really blame him too much from being behind when it comes to time, but when I'm looking at that GC, obviously when it comes to Ciclamino, not much change except Groves moving past Melier into second. KOM, not much changed. White Jersey, not much change. We're looking at stage 7 now, which is the time trial from Foligno to Perugia. We've got in total 41 kilometers. The first 34 are relatively flat.
Yeah.
Pretty much flat. And then there's a climb that starts with 1.3 kilometers at 10.7%, but then continues for about 4.5 kilometers at, I'd say, 3%, but it's very undulating. So it's
up and down.
It's very difficult to say this might be steeper than that part. It will be a bit up and down in that last segment. So It's a climbing finish. How much will the flat part influence the race? How much will the climb influence the race? I'm looking at that GC, and I don't actually expect much difference when it comes to P1 and P2, but Thomas could beat Pogacar in that time trial.
You reckon?
It's a possibility. Pogacar should also be very good in that time trial.
Oh.
Ooh, you're attacking the table with a beat on.
Throwing water everywhere.
Martinez, I expect a good TT off. He's a solid TTer. Not as good as Pogacar and Thomas, of course.
No, but he's good, and it's not a mountain TT, but it's a hill. It's got that hill on it.
Jan Uitenbroeks loses 3 to 5 minutes compared to the podium candidates right now.
No, that's too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
The climb will fix it, you think?
He's fucking cooking.
The flat. He can't cook flat.
But he is cooking. Like,
I think he's losing time, mate. Rubio also, sorry, but he's losing time.
Of course he's losing time. Of course he's losing time, but 3 to 5 minutes? No.
It starts with 3.
Yeah.
Fortunato, losing a decade as well.
Rubio, Fortunato, Hirt, Juanpe.
Lopez.
It's a murderer's row.
Who will jump over them? Because then I'm looking further and I'm thinking,
O'Connor.
On paper?
O'Connor's a good time trial rider.
Plappy is weird, because he had a horrible TT about a week and a half ago in Romandy. And then I'm thinking, okay, if he does those TTs here, then he's going to get fucked over as well. But if he gets his good TTs, he should pass people.
Tiberi.
Tiberi's going to move up.
Yeah,
You're right in that.
Lot, yeah.
We don't have... Arensman could move up in GC spots, not necessarily in time towards Pogacar. Because Pogacar will take time.
Yeah. Okay, so what...
Pogacar or Thomas? Who wins the stage?
Are they my only 2 options?
Oh, you got another option?
No. Who's looked really good on the punch and is like 65 kilos plus? Who have you got?
I'm going with Pogacar.
He's looked good. He's looked fine, but like not...
I'm also the guy that says, I saw a small vulnerability today, but Pogacar's going to snipe the TT tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thomas should be really good tomorrow. But Pogacar's going to win it, mate.
He will.
Are we underrating the flat part for the Gannas of the world? Did he stop on purpose early today to save some energy?
I hope not. Maybe he did.
Chef can climb, can keep TT very well.
Yeah, Chef is one of these random ones. He's like with the wet, especially when you look at someone like, okay, who is not 60 kilograms? Who is maybe, if there's, I don't know the weather forecast, who is going to be in a completely different slot from the GC riders? And Magnus Sheffield will be, because he's not that different, but he's like on 17 minutes, so he'll be going much earlier than them. Alaphilippe Benji is good on these sort of TTs, and but no, for the win.
For me, it's Pogacar or Thomas.
Yeah.
Or Sheffield. That's the one that I can put next to him.
Sheffield, yeah.
Gannas climbing on the rope was really good.
Yeah.
But he's been inconsistent this week. He's had great stages and mess stages.
Just can't trust him.
But for a time trial, we should be able to trust him. Arensman? He shouldn't.
Nah, not for the win.
Shouldn't win.
It's Poggy. Poggy will be the favorite. Poggy should win. If Pogacar doesn't win Benji, like if he loses by 10 seconds, like if Pogacar attacks today, I would normally be like, Poggy's going to win by like 30 seconds. Like Poggy should, in my opinion, peak Pogacar tomorrow on that TT. I know G's super good, but I'm sorry, Pogacar should kill him in this TT tomorrow. And put 25 seconds into him, at least. It's 41k TT. If he doesn't, if it's even, INEOS are going to should take that as a win, in my opinion. But yeah, I think Poggy should win as well. We got 2 intermediates halfway, and then just at the bottom of the climb. So
perfect for the time.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have a third one at the top of the steep bit, but alrighty. Anything else, Benji? Any other news? Anything else? Oh, I should do the DNSs. Michael Woods didn't start.
His teammate Reisberg. His teammates Riley Pickrell.
Pickrell didn't start, right. Lipovitz
didn't start? You didn't know?
No, I knew, but I forgot. Like I also wanted to see his TT. It's a shame apparently he's sick. Boris said he's sick, so he's out, but
Chat said something. Hendrik Graf in the chat said Schachman for the TT could do relatively well. I think that's true. He's not a bad TTer.
I think that is
top
true.
10.
Schachman's a very good hilly time trial rider, and he's back in top shape again. But to win is different.
Yeah.
Like,
He says top 5, which I think top 10, top 5, maybe.
Yeah, it's within the realms of possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, who do we see on the... We sort of didn't say, but like, where is Otterbrooks on GC after this stage? Where is O'Connor on GC after this stage? And where is Baudin?
Wow. They are super bloody lucky that 90% of the people can't TT in the top 20.
I know.
So they can only move X amount of positions.
Yeah. I think if Otterbrooks loses 2 minutes or less to Martinez, he has to be very happy, or O'Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because on the flat TT, which you don't consider a flat TT, he's going to lose just as much, if not more. It's second week, right?
Yeah, second week.
Stage 14. 31 kilometers. You call that hilly, I call that flat.
Yeah, hilly, flat
240
hilly.
altitude meters and 31 kilometers.
A little bit hilly. Yeah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'll be back with the TT tomorrow.
Nick?
No, come on. Dude, where was he today?
Yeah, that's true. He tried to get in the break, failed to do so.
Fair enough.
Like half the peloton.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow with the recap. We love our time trials and we can't wait to see real big GC gaps between a lot of riders who've been close all week. I can't wait, and we'll see you with the recap of Stage 7 tomorrow. Until then, ciao.